Classroom Dynamics is supported by Logitech. As education continues to evolve, so does Logitech Education, your partner in content creation for the classroom. With Logitech's cutting-edge technology, students not only learn but also become content creators. Whether it's in person or online, Logitech's tools are designed to inspire educators and learners alike. Capture every educational moment in stunning detail and edit, produce, and share your creative journey with ease. Logitech Education, inspiring the next generation of creators. For more, visit logitech.com/education, transforming classrooms one innovation at a time. Every classroom has the potential to be extraordinary, and the Logitech Reach adjustable content camera is your partner in making that happen. With its flexible arm and clear video, you can now showcase everything from detailed drawings to live experiments, ensuring that every student is engaged and involved. Whether you're teaching in person or online, Logitech Reach helps you connect with your students in a whole new way. Ready to take your lessons further? Visit logitech.com/reach and elevate your classroom to a whole new level. Welcome to Classroom Dynamics, Bits and Bytes, the podcast within the podcast where we explore cutting-edge technologies for your classroom. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Adam Todd, and today we're talking all about how we're at the crossroads of AI and how we're going to have to work on ways to embrace it in today's classroom. Now, generative AI isn't just another flashy tool. It's quickly becoming an essential part of how we think, learn, and create. Tools like Google Gemini are already showing what's possible, where students can use it to summarize research, brainstorm project ideas, or even get tailored feedback on their writing. But the real power of AI in education isn't about getting faster answers, it's about learning to ask better questions. Global education organizations like UNESCO and the United States Department of Education have already emphasized that we're entering a stage where students must be taught how to use AI responsibly and effectively. Gemini and similar tools can help teachers personalize instruction, provide targeted practice, and adapt lessons to meet diverse learning needs. By using AI to handle routine tasks, educators can focus more on what matters most: connection, creativity, and critical thinking in the classroom. Now, one of the most meaningful entry points is teaching prompting, the art and science of asking clear, thoughtful questions that guide AI to deliver useful and accurate results. In practice, this could look like a student using Google Gemini to develop a persuasive essay outline, and then revising the prompt to make the feedback more specific or more aligned with their tone. That process, refining, testing, and improving, builds metacognitive skills and encourages reflection. And when done intentionally, prompting now becomes a literacy and not a shortcut. Ethics also plays a major role. Students need to learn how to check AI outputs for accuracy, identify bias, and of course, understand when a response may not be reliable. Just as we teach digital citizenship and media literacy, AI literacy must include lessons about privacy, fairness, and accountability. And tools like Google Gemini are powerful, but they're only as ethical and effective as the people guiding their use. And for teachers and parents, embracing AI starts with curiosity and openness. For example, having students compare its generated summaries to their own research notes can open up conversations about accuracy, perspective, and authorship. Professional development will also be essential so educators can use these tools meaningfully and model responsible use. And for teachers and parents, embracing AI starts with curiosity and openness. For example, having students compare its generated summaries to their own research notes can open up conversations about accuracy, perspective, and authorship. Professional development will be essential so educators can use these tools meaningfully and model responsible use. Schools will also need thoughtful policies that protect student data while encouraging safe experimentation. We are, without question, at a crossroads. If schools ignore AI, students are just going to learn it on their own, without context or guidance. But by integrating tools like Google Gemini into lessons and conversations, we can ensure that students are learning with AI and not just from it. A simple way to begin this is through a prompt lab activity where students craft prompts for Gemini, compare its responses, evaluate their quality, and refine their questions to improve the results. Through this process, they learn not only how to use AI, but how to think critically about the information it provides. AI isn't replacing educators, it's amplifying the need for skilled, ethical, and creative teaching. And by embracing tools like Google Gemini thoughtfully, we prepare students for a future where technology enhances enhances learning and not defines it. Now, for more on ways you can start to embrace AI in the classroom, here are our Google Notebook language model hosts, Bits and Bytes.
Today, we're jumping straight into something that's, well, it's not just a flashy tool anymore. It's really becoming essential infrastructure.
You mean generative AI?
Exactly. Things like Google Gemini. They're fundamentally changing how we learn, how we create. It's not really optional now, is it? It's just the context for education.
Absolutely. And that's why we've gathered some key sources today. We're looking at reports from big players, UNESCO, the U.S. Department of Education, but also academic research.
And they're all saying the same thing.
Pretty much a unanimous voice, actually. They're stressing this urgent need to teach students how to use AI responsibly. And just as importantly, effectively.
So what's our goal with this deep dive then?
Basically a shortcut for you. We want to get you well informed on this educational crossroads. We're zeroing in on 2 core skills: prompting, asking the right questions, and ethical reasoning.
That urgency you mentioned, it feels real. Because if parents just ignore AI, well, kids won't.
No, they'll learn it somewhere else. Probably social media, right? Without the critical context, without guidance.
So we have to shift the mindset. It's not an external threat. It's more like a new kind of literacy we need to teach.
Exactly. Integrating tools like Gemini thoughtfully, so students learn with the AI, guiding it, understanding its limits.
Not just passively getting answers from it.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's unpack that first big shift. If an AI can summarize huge documents or brainstorm ideas instantly, what does that mean for human skills?
Well, the skills have to adapt, obviously. And the sources really highlight something interesting. The true power here isn't just the speed. It's about learning to ask better, more sophisticated questions.
Right, which leads us to prompting literacy.
Exactly. And the literature defines this, interestingly, as the art and science of asking clear, thoughtful questions. It's about guiding these large language models, the tech behind Gemini, to give you results that are accurate and actually useful.
And the sources insist this isn't just a trick or a shortcut.
No, they call it a necessary literacy. You've got to communicate clearly with the AI if you want anything decent back. It's that simple.
Okay, but why is that literacy so important? How does learning to prompt actually, change how a student thinks? Does it connect to metacognition?
Oh, absolutely. And that connection often gets missed. Think about that example. A student using Gemini for a persuasive essay outline.
Okay.
If they just type, "Give me an essay outline on climate change," they get back is going to be, pretty generic, probably useless for their specific needs.
Right.
So to get something good, something that fits their specific argument, their tone, they have to revise that prompt, maybe multiple times.
They need to add specifics.
Yeah.
Like the audience or counter-arguments.
Exactly. The audience, the required length, the specific angle they're taking.
And here's the key bit, I think. The learning isn't just in fixing the essay outline the AI give them.
No, it's in fixing the instruction they gave the AI.
I see.
And that constant cycle, refining the prompt, testing the output, improving the question, that's what builds metacognitive skills. It forces them into this deep self-reflection. What do I really want? What am I missing?
So the AI's failure kind of mirrors their own lack of clarity.
Precisely. The prompt becomes a mirror. It shows them the ambiguity in their own thinking.
That sounds like really valuable practice, going way beyond just using a tool. Are schools actually doing this, like in K-12?
They are. One research paper we looked at from Arts4, it details this really effective prompt lab activity.
A prompt lab.
Yeah. And it's not just theoretical. The study found that this kind of scenario-based deliberate practice really boosted secondary students' prompting skills and their confidence, too.
How does a prompt lab work?
Well, students might all get the same task. They craft prompts, then compare the responses Gemini gives based on their different prompts. They evaluate the quality, discuss why some prompts worked better, and then refine their questions together.
So it brings in peer review for prompting. That's clever.
It grounds the whole concept in something tangible. You see immediately how a better question gets a better result.
Okay, that shift from passive receiver to active instructor of the AI is huge. But like you said, prompting is only half of it. Even the best prompt can get a biased result if the AI itself has issues, right?
Exactly. Which brings us straight to this second core skill, ethics.
We teach digital citizenship. So this is kind of the AI version. Privacy, fairness, accountability.
Precisely. You can be a master prompter, but you also have to be aware of the potential flaws, the inherent biases baked into these large language models.
Because the AI is only as good or as ethical as the data it learned from.
And the people who built it. Algorithms inevitably reflect historical systemic biases. We have to teach students to spot those biases when they pop up.
Okay, let's make that concrete. The sources had some really stark examples of this discrimination, didn't they?
They did. Memorable, unfortunately. First, let's take linguistic bias. Google Translate, for instance. It was found translating the Turkish phrase for he is a nurse.
Let me guess. It defaulted to she.
It defaulted to the feminine form. But translate she is a doctor, and it defaulted to the masculine form.
Wow. So it's carrying those societal stereotypes right into the translation.
Directly reinforcing them. It shows the AI isn't neutral at all. It's reflecting the biases in its training data.
Okay, what was the second example? Something about facial recognition.
Right. Racial bias in computer vision. Facial recognition systems have repeatedly misidentified African American and Latino individuals, sometimes as convicted felons.
That's not just an error, that's devastating.
It's a systemic failure, likely due to data sets that weren't diverse enough or had flawed inputs, and the real-world consequences for certain groups are incredibly serious.
And the third example, the UK education one, that felt really systemic.
Yes, the 2020 A-level and GCSE situation in England. When exams are canceled because of the pandemic, the regulator, Oftical, used an algorithm to assign grades.
And it went wrong.
Badly wrong. The algorithm relied heavily on schools' historical performance data. The result: it massively favored students from private schools, which typically had better historical records.
So it penalized students from state schools and underrepresented groups?
Exactly. It hit them hardest. The AI basically just took a biased system and replicated its unfairness automatically.
That really drives home how critical it is to watch the data and the impact. Okay, beyond bias, what about privacy? The sources mention uninformed sharing and risks to student agency. What does that mean practically?
That's the surveillance and privacy angle. Uninformed sharing is the big risk. Students click agree on terms of service for AI tools.
Without reading the fine print, naturally.
Of course. And they don't realize the sheer amount of data they're handing over. Not just their name, but potentially metadata like racial identity, location, their entire query history.
So they're trading data for access, but they don't know the real cost. And what happens with all that data?
It gets aggregated, modeled. And this is where the autonomy concern comes in. Schools might use predictive analytics AI, trying to spot students at risk of failing.
Based on
usage patterns, demographics, maybe interaction history, not just actual performance. So a student might get flagged.
And that label could then affect how they're treated.
Potentially. It could influence counseling, maybe limit their options, constrain their sense of freedom based on a prediction, not reality. Their agency gets diminished because the AI is sort of prejudging them.
That it's a whole other ethical layer.
Yeah.
Looking for a smarter way to protect and use your tech on the go? The Higher Ground Gear DataKeeper Plus CS is built for action. Work directly from the case without ever removing your device. Stay organized with a built-in storage pocket for accessories, and rest easy knowing you've got serious drop protection designed for real-world classrooms and busy professionals. The DataKeeper Plus CS. Organize smarter, protect better, and work wherever you are. For more information, visit hggear.com today. Looking to spark excitement in your classroom and save time? Head over to Highly Motivated on Teachers Pay Teachers. From engaging lesson plans to creative lab books and test prep tools, these resources are designed to inspire learning and take the planning stress off your plate. Highly Motivated, motivating teaching resources that engage and inspire. For more, search Highly Motivated on Teachers Pay Teachers.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, the reality check. We hear about this AI literacy gap. Kids using it freely, schools maybe lagging behind. How do we get educators up to speed?
That's the bottleneck, honestly. Professional development for teachers is absolutely critical.
Are organizations stepping up?
Yes, definitely. The sources point to groups like IST plus ASCD being major providers now. They offer specific training, like an AI deep dive for educators. Teachers need dedicated training on the ethics integration, not just how to use the tool technically.
Makes sense. And are there actual curriculum materials available? Things teachers can use in the classroom to teach bias or autonomy, especially for, say, middle schoolers.
Yes, some really good ones are emerging. MIT Media Lab has an AI and ethics curriculum specifically for middle school. It uses hands-on activities.
Like what?
Well, one is called AI Bingo. Students identify the prediction task and the data set behind different AIs they encounter daily. Makes it less abstract.
I remember seeing algorithms as opinions mentioned too. That sounds intriguing.
That one's great. Students basically design an algorithm for something subjective, like the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
How does that teach AI ethics?
It instantly shows them how their own opinions, their values, their biases get embedded when they define best. It illustrates how code reflects the creator's perspective, takes the mystery out of it.
That's a brilliant way to make it concrete. What about younger kids? Or resources across different grades?
For a wider range, grades 3 to 12, code.org, there's an activity called AI for Oceans.
AI for Oceans.
Yeah, students train machine learning models to identify trash in pictures of the ocean to help clean it up. But in doing it, they see how their input, their classification choices can introduce bias.
So they see how skewed data can lead to skewed results, even in a simple task.
Exactly. Learning by doing. They might inadvertently train bias into their own model and then have to figure out why it's not working fairly.
Very effective. Okay, let's pivot one last time. Parents. They're navigating this too. The Stanford expert said parents need to be advocates, help shape school policies. What can they actually do?
Right. It's not just about banning tools at home. The Stanford advice boils down to 3 actionable steps. First, find out what's actually happening in the classroom.
Just ask the teacher.
Pretty much. Are they using approved AI tutors like Khan Academies or Duolingos? Are they using AI for virtual labs or simulations? Parents need that baseline understanding first.
Know the landscape before you try to navigate it. Okay, step 2.
Step 2, engage with school leaders. Proactively, don't wait.
What should they ask?
The sources suggest some key questions. Does our school have an AI policy? If not, is one being developed? What tools are okay to use? Which are definitely not okay. How's the school training teachers for this? What should we, as parents, be telling our kids? And maybe, can parents get involved, like on an AI committee?
That's a solid list.
Yeah.
Moves it from worry to constructive conversation. And the final step.
The third, and maybe most crucial, talk to your children. Model responsible, use yourself. Reinforce the idea that learning is supposed to be challenging sometimes.
The message being, AI is a tool to support learning, not replace it.
Exactly. Use it to brainstorm, check your work, deepen understanding, sure, but not to just bypass the assignment, bypass the thinking.
And there was another point about social interaction.
Yes, a really important one. Caution kids against letting AI replace human interaction too much. Learning involves arguing, debating, collaborating with peers, getting feedback from teachers. That's vital for social development.
If you only talk to the AI tutor,
you miss out on learning those crucial interpersonal skills. It's a hidden cost.
that really connects AI literacy back to social and emotional learning. Okay, so wrapping this up, looking across all these sources, the research on prompting, the warnings about bias, the advice for teachers and parents, the main takeaway seems clear.
Yeah.
AI integration is happening, no question.
Yeah.
But if we focus on these practical skills, the prompting literacy, and combine it with solid ethical training,
We can maybe steer it, ensure it enhances learning, supports growth.
instead of just creating new problems or amplifying old ones.
Right. But if we connect back to that privacy discussion, the uninformed sharing, the data collection, it raises one last, maybe slightly provocative thought for you to consider. We're building this new learning infrastructure where basically all educational activity is logged, tracked, modeled by AI.
Okay.
So the question becomes, who should ultimately own that incredibly detailed record of your learning journey? You, the student, the school, the tech company that built the platform.
That really shifts the perspective from classroom tools to data ownership, intellectual property. It's a big question for the future.
Definitely something to think about.
Indeed. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.
For more on Classroom Dynamics, follow us on X at Class Dynamics or on Instagram at Classroom Dynamics Podcast. And be sure to search Classroom Dynamics on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast shows.